Hi, welcome to Life of an African Woman. Yes, taking Africa to the world. If you tuned in here or you stumbled on this channel, it wasn't an accident, but the grace and the will of God for you to definitely stumble on this video. I will oblige you. Watch this video till the very end. Exactly. Here, let me put out a disclaimer and my goal and objective on here for the very sake of this video, because I know that this channel is a new channel and I might get people from my other channel following me up here. So this is a channel where I come out to air my opinion, my views, my objective based on issues, controversial, trivial, educative, entertaining, and inspiring issues. Not just issues, but issues that will really help unite us as West Africans, as countries in West Africa, down to Africa, and Africa to the world. Because personally, if there's one thing I stand to uphold, I stand to represent, and I stand to achieve, is uniting countries in West Africa, taking it down to Africa and Africa to the world. Because little will you know that there is strength in unity and there is strength in peace, but violence is senseless. Exactly. Like I said, watch till the end and watch without sentiment, without bias. And at the end of the day, let me know what you think constructively and respectfully down in the comment section, because I know that for you to be watching me, you must be matured and above the age of 18, and you are better off raised and trained to have a very, very matured conversation, dialogue based on any issue whatsoever. I believe we can all air our views, our opinions constructively and respectfully. So straight up into the point is the topic that has long overdue. I should have actually talked about this topic or this issue long time ago, even when it started. But based on the fact that I never got the chance and the right platform to channel this kind of topic, right? Because my other channels are based of different kind of topics that I treat and talk about there, right? This channel, I feel, is convenient for me to do so. And as a matter of fact, in case you don't know, I am a Nigerian, born Nigerian, living in Nigeria, yes. And my passion in life, my goal is to see that my country, Nigeria, does better, improve in all facets, and try to be in the best shape and form as citizens and as a country, no matter where we find ourselves, upholding the integrity, the image, the reputation of us as citizens anywhere we go, keeping the flag clean and flying. Exactly. And that is where I think our success path and our story and our narrative is definitely going to change. So looking at the story of Chidinmaadeshina, the whole brouhaha, the whole incident back and forth during the beauty pageant, at the end of the day, the end of the whole event, and Chidinma turning out the first runner-up of the beauty pageant as Miss Universe was a thing for me, right? And I would not really want to dwell on the beauty pageant event of a thing and all whatnot, but I really want to center my attention and my focus on the cause of the issue Chidinma had, right, with South Africans and how she came into the Nigerian picture. I will start by looking at the history of Chidinma, who is a young lady of about 23 years old, born into a Nigerian family based in South Africa by an Igbo man, to be precise, a Nigerian father, and also a self-acclaimed African mother by citizenship, right? Not by origin or by birth, but by citizenship, which actually in the course of the context, the beauty context of Chidinma, was brought out to the knowledge of the whole world that there was a clause in her citizenship. So this got me to go in research, because I don't want to come here and talk. I want to talk facts. I want to talk figures about what it actually is as the problem for Chidinma, right? That actually made or brought out the uproar and the distasteful and unknowing reasons why the people of South Africa, some people, like, if you know me, I will not generalize, actually really never wanted her to come out with that name, a South Africa or representing South Africa, right? Yes, please watch this video till the end, because if you know me, I stand for nothing but the truth, the brutal and the bitter truth. When I want to say it, I say it as it is, without mixing words and without minding whose fault is God. So if it hits you in any way, shape or form, take it and work with it, exactly, for a positive result at the long run. Now, I went in deep research to see that, yes, when South Africans got into the matter was, according to Chidinma, her name was not really depicting South Africa, right? And her name, in a nutshell or in a context, brought out the quest anxiety and search for her history. And when they looked at it, that was where the trace of paternity fraud actually came from. And at the long run, in a nutshell, it was obvious and glaring that the mother of Chidinma was the one that actually had issues with her certification of her citizenship as in South Africa, which up till date, as demanding by South Africans, I cannot tell if it has been proven, yes, authentically well, that she is a South African, right? And I also went in depthly to find out what is the criteria, or what are the criteria of becoming a citizen in South Africa. Because of course, in African countries, West African countries, every country to how they give out their citizenship, how they crown their citizenship by law, right? Or by birth or by inheritance. And I realized that aside the fact that if your both parents are biologically citizens of South Africa, which makes you as a child, whether you're born there or not in South Africa, an automatic citizen. So on the contrary, if you are an immigrant living in South Africa, and definitely your parents are not South Africans by birth and by citizenship too, they are not properly documented based on the law that if you stay there up to a certain period of time, you're born there by any of the parents, which makes you automatically a citizen, well documented. Emphasis on well documented, due process followed, and yes, at the end of the day, you become a citizen by birth. Definitely at the end of the day, one of your parents being citizens, yes, that are well documented, confirmed that you are a citizen. See, I'm definitely taking this thing not from the angle of the beauty pageant of the thing, but from the angle that other people are not seeing, other people might not see, non-biased, non-sentimental, right? That of the beauty pageant of a thing is not my thing, right? It's a thing of its own that I quite applaud and appreciate at the end of the day, that it's a win for Nigeria, it's a win for West Africa, and it's a win for Africa. But we'll get to the bottom line and the crux of the matter that will help us at the end of the day achieve a common goal, and that's where I am headed. So keep listening, I beg of you. Now, on the contrary to, if you're an immigrant and you stay there for a certain period of age, I get to find out that you can definitely, after the Constitutional Act of years 2013, that you can definitely apply after you stayed for a certain period of time, and at the end of the day being granted citizenship based on your qualifications in all facets. To achieve that, you will be given citizenship. So in a nutshell, when you look at it, the bone of contention is not that you cannot be a citizen of any country of South Africa. You can definitely be by all the requirements and by all the chances, right? But the bone of contention is, how are you a citizen? Now, putting it aside that we are all Africans, most of us do love and can die hard to become citizens of other Western European, British country, right? Now, we see most times we travel down to these countries as women, mothers, to give birth, because we know that automatically giving birth in some of these countries makes your child a citizen. And yes, that can really go a long way to change the story and the narrative of not just that child, but the family as a whole. And that's why most African parents, most African, West African parents do travel whenever, yes, they are due for delivery based on their pregnancy, apply for visa, and they go there, deliver for medical and childbearing reasons, come back. And notice that at that point, it is where all necessary documentation to prove and back up the fact that automatically that child has become a citizen of any of these countries, right? It didn't start today, it's been there. If not for the fact that some countries are trying to put a ban on it because they tend to sense abuse of it, right? But that is not why we're here. The point I needed to stress there is that it is not because it is an African country, the laws should not be followed, the laws should not be abided to or adhered to. In every country, there are laws that governs the country, that rules the country, that keeps the country, that helps to the growth, the success and development of every country. And that is fact. If my own country's law is not living up to its expectation, that they take it the way and manner they like, you know, making it any and anyhow, that anybody can come in, do whatever they like and go, it is for us Nigerians to deal with. That doesn't mean that every other country should be like others. Every country in Africa, in West Africa, have the sole right to put their laws and stand by it. That is where I'm headed. That is one point. And it is not the duty of any country or any citizen from any country as an immigrant to migrate to any country and dictate or tell the country how their law should be. They're trying to see how they should adjust the law, how they should twist the law in favor of you. Now, the bottom line is the cause of Chidinma's mother failing to confirm her identity at the end of the day, which brought what happened upon her daughter at the end of the day. Is it right or wrong? It is absolutely wrong. It is wrong for an individual, and that's why you see, personally, I don't generalize things. If you are talking about South Africans, I don't generalize. If you're talking about Nigerians, Ghana, Togo, Cameroon, no country at all is worthy of being generalized on or stereotyped, right? Because one person does this, then everybody's affected. No, deal with people individually, accordingly, based on how they act and behave in any situation, circumstance, or environment that the challenges occurs, right? Now, the blame or the whole blame should be on Chidinma's mother, right? But at the end of the day, there's definitely going to be a twist to this. So listen without sentiment and bias. If as South Africans, you have your law and you're fighting for a cause, which is making sure that your laws, your rules and regulations as country is being adhered to, abided to by other citizens, and making sure that due process is followed, everyone who comes there lives well and abides to that law, then it should be based on that, right? Good. So if definitely South Africans have stood their grounds on the fact that there was a paternity fraud, and Chidinma truthfully is not a South African, and it is, stated clearly, it is a thing that I will support and I will always support. So the action or the fault from the hands of Chidinma's mother is a no-no for me. If there are issues that has led to that, it's left for her to know how to come out clean, come out plain, to say, okay, this is what it is, without lies, without deceit, and without sentiment and bias. You see, one thing with us Africans, particularly Nigerians, is that we are very sentimental, and we use emotions to downplay things that are very, very controversial, very serious and important in life, and that's why we get it all wrong. That is why also we cannot differentiate the right from the wrong. That is why we cannot most times see white and call it white, because we attach emotions, and because of favoritism, tribalism, and all whatnot, we tend to shy away from the truth most times, and that is where most of our problems lies, right? So these are the areas we need to look at ourselves as Nigerians. So digesting this and analyzing it clearly is that, as God could have it, it ended the way it ended, that Chidinma was rejected by some South Africans, majority of them, and it turned out that she, at the end of the day, became the winner based off how the whole thing played out, right? Based on her resilience, and as a person, as an adult that stands to represent Africa, it's something that is very welcoming and inspiring to young people out there. But where I do not really settle is throwing and casting all the stone, all the blame, and all the frustration on Chidinma from some South Africans is where I see that it is wrong. Now, if you're fighting for a thing, stand for it. But when you deviate and derail from that cause and you begin to go extra mile, to the point that even when Chidinma decamped from representing South Africa and, cleaved to Nigeria, and Nigerians welcomed her, right? At the end of the day, it is where South Africans would have been, okay, our cause is clear and we stood our grounds for what we represent. But going to the extreme now brings me to what I have to say. You see, like I said, every country have their rights, they have their rules and their regulations, right? That is binding on every citizen and immigrants or visitors in the country, and that's what makes a country what it is. But let's not forget that if we definitely must stand as one, must unite as one, the first thing we need to fight against is hatred, is discrimination, is stereotype and racism amongst us as blacks, as Africans, because Africa is one continent that, if at the end of the day stands as one, as a formidable force, what we can achieve at the end of the day will be mind-blowing, that other nations will come to realize that yes, there's power in unity, there's power in love. I don't know why it is a thing that is common with us as West Africans, as Africans, that our major problems, our number one enemies are ourselves. Now, it makes me to go down to memory lane to want to ask or question, why is it that in most West African and African countries, we do not love each other and accept each other? And yes, there is a reason for every misunderstanding, every hate, every quarrel, every issue that comes up between people, between friends, between family, even between countries. And it got me thinking, and I got deeper to find out, why is it that between South Africa and Nigeria, there is this gap of hatred, of stereotype, of xenophobia, yes, that has led to xenophobic actions over time. Yes, that at the end of the day, when they come in contact, it leads to that point where we find out that a black man will unalive his fellow black man. For what exactly at the end of the day are we fighting for? For what exactly are we killing ourselves for? And remember, one thing you should take home is that you cannot correct wrongs from doing wrong. You cannot correct anger with anger. You cannot correct violence with violence. You can only do that with love. You correct anger with calmness, with peacefulness. You correct violence with love, with peace. That is the only way that at the end of the day you can put out your message across, and you can pass your message across, and it will definitely stand out to give you or yield a positive result. Now, if we bring it down to Nigerians, the way Nigerians took it at the end of the day, they took it because at the end of the day, pure before Chidinma's issue, truth be told, there were underlined cases of disunity, cases of hatred, cases of stereotype, cases of anger and violence already on ground before Chidinma's issue. So when we are analyzing things or addressing things, go down to the root cause of where the problem started from. Know why it started and follow it up till the later. That is only how you can achieve your goal and your success of what? Bringing solutions. So with this, you already know, or you can agree with me, no matter whom you are, as a South African or a Nigerian, that there is an underlying issues upon issues, compounded issues of misunderstanding, hatred, stereotype, and violence between South Africans and Nigerians. Some or majority of them, in a nutshell, that till tomorrow most West African countries and African countries are even scared when they hear the name South Africa, are even scared when they hear the name Nigeria at the end of the day, for major reasons or different reasons that have escalated to what it is today, and it seems as though it is unending. And that's why I feel like I need to sit down, bring my input, my opinion to us all as Africans. As long as you're an African with a black color, I don't mean the mixed race, with a black color, and you're listening to me, please, I need you to take something home today. So don't be in a hurry. Do not come with anger, do not come with hatred. If you are still in pain, calm down. You can as well click out of this video whenever you are ready. You can come and listen, right? Because I want us to have this conversation. Now, these problems are problems that when I look at it, I can say that some of the reasons why some South Africans or most South Africans are really not comfortable, are really not receptive and in acceptance of some Nigerians or most Nigerians that they find there is what? Attitude difference, cultural difference, and economic difference. In the sense that most Nigerians, from my research, who go to South Africa and other nations, are always going there with this passion, this anxiety, this zeal that they want to leave their country to other people's country or to South Africa, but at all means, at all costs, to make it, to succeed, no matter what, whether they are legally settled there or illegally settled there. So they dabble into so many dubious, incriminating, and very disgusting acts that pisses the people of South Africa up, to the point that when they cannot tolerate this, they cannot accept it, it leads to violence, which we call xenophobia, right? Which of all shades, of all standard, I can say it is absolutely wrong and inhuman. It is man's inhumanity to man, yes, because at the end of the day, we do not create any life. We don't have the power to create life. So why take life? It's an offense before God and man. And whether you are a South African or a Nigerian who has stained their hands with blood, I will say to you that you have committed the most abominable crime on earth, that you owe man and God forgiveness, yes. But like I am saying, the cause and the root to this whole thing is that these things that some Nigerians go there to do is something that we as Nigerians should sit back and say, yes, why are these people angry with me? Why are these people always uncomfortable and unhappy with me? This is not just streamlined to the country South Africa, other nations that Nigerians travel to. Now, don't get it twisted. It is of great importance that any immigrant who is legally settled in a country should be working legally, right? So it is expected that as Nigerian or as a Nigerian, no matter the country, as we are using South Africa as a case study, you should be legally settled there and adhere to the rules and regulations of the country, well documented by your citizenship or with your citizenship, so that at the end of the day, no matter what happens, you are on a just course, you are on a clean slate, right? And what's come to worse, no matter what it takes, if you find that place that you have tried your best and it's no longer comfortable, you can as well leave. I feel the pain of every Nigerian who leaves Nigeria on a daily basis because of the problem and the challenge we have in our country, which is the grassroots of our problem, our country's bad situation, bad economy, bad leaders that has really tortured its citizens to the point that it is no longer convenient for them, right? And that's why you see that on a daily, most Nigerians are leaving the country, not just to South Africa, but to other African nations, Western European countries. And it is only when our leaders, at the end of the day, are being held accountable and responsible, and they start living right and living up to our expectations, stop embezzling our money, stop destroying the country's resources, and making the citizens their topmost priority. That's when we as Nigerians can comfortably beat our chest to say, yes, we have arrived, or we've reached that level where we can say we are comfortable in our home. If not, tell me, if the country is convenient and comfortable for us, why would people be leaving? Except for the fact that you want to tour, you want to visit other countries and come back, right? Now, you travel to this country, and at the end of the day, there are certain things that you should observe how the people of the country live and what they really expect of you to do and what you shouldn't do. By so doing, if you understand these things and live up to it, there will be peace. You don't stain your hands. Of course, there are responsible, reputable Nigerian citizens that are living legally, well documented, right? That are doing pretty well for themselves, and they are even going as far as intermarrying, interrelating, and succeeding in South Africa and other nations, right? And you, on the other hand, who is the major cause of the problem that is emanating to the point that it affects other rightful and patriotic citizens of Nigeria, robbing them the mud, the debt that you have brought upon yourself, and transferring it to other citizens of the country Nigeria, is the height of it, and it's something that we should condemn, that I am sitting here to condemn. Because one thing is that when you do something wrong as a Nigerian, it does not easily end with you there. They will want to transfer it, which is the stereotype here that most countries, not just South Africans, have actually resorted to, which I will also say it is all shades of wrong, to stereotype things, to generalize things, and make it seem as though the sin of one should be punished by all. And that's why you see that it transferred as much as it did to Chidinma, that really, changed the whole story in the negative, got the internet upside down, and got Nigerians so bitter, so angry and hot that, yes, why should a black man, throw their fellow black man out to the thin air? What if Chidinma had no other country to accept her? But we are all first black, we are all first Africans before we streamline it to our different countries. And that's where I would say some South Africans are getting it all wrong. And what does this boil down to? It boils down to hate, the line between hate and love. How much do we love ourselves as Africans? How much do we love ourselves as West Africans? And please, Nigerians, I don't really want to really let this whole attitude in the negative of most of you out there in other people's country be a pain in my neck today, because of a truth. I am not comfortable with what most Nigerians, or with what some Nigerians, a handful of them, go out there to do, that is rubbing on the faces, the body, the image of other innocent ones. Because it is the bad Nigerian attitude, action that is affecting us today, and that is what has brought to the underlying issues of what we are already suffering from and what has deteriorated to this level. But one thing is to have problems, another thing is to have a solution to it, right? And that's why I am talking. I am not talking because I just want to put blames on these people, put blame on these other people, put blames on Nigerians, on South Africans, on other nations. We need to hold ourselves accountable as South Africans. Look within yourself. What amount of hate and love do you have? Which is outweighing which? By right, as a matter of fact, instructed by God, we ought to love each other just the way we love ourselves, regardless. Right? And where there is love, peace, and unity, there is progress. You see, the reason why Africa as a continent is not doing better than what it is doing, or where they are today, is because of all this stereotype, hatred, bitterness, violence, acrimony, and all whatnot, caused by attitude of some South Africans, some Nigerians, some West Africans, other countries in the continent Africa. And when you look at the grassroots, when you look at where the problem is emanating from, it still boils down to individual characters. So I won't sit down here and say of a truth that any human being, whether you're a Nigerian or a South Africa, have the right to unalive anyone, have the right to hate your fellow human being, no matter whom you are. Let's take ourselves as black first, to the point that you don't want to see them alive, to the point that you don't want to see them live, to the point that you don't want the best for them, you don't want anything good for them. Come off it. This is the handiwork of Lucifer himself, because if I should say, he just has three assignments, which is to kill, to steal, and to destroy. And who does he work with or work in? He works in human beings. So you see that at the end of the day, the crime that people commit, individuals commit, even Nigerians committing back home here in Nigeria, is as a result of them being used as an instrument of the devil to exhibit and execute this character, these crimes, and at the end of the day, causing more mishap, causing more tragedy, causing more chaos in the country. And sometimes they take this whole thing out of the country, go to other people's country and do such. And at the end of the day, expect that it will all go well, or it will end well, or the people will accept it and smile with them. No. These are the issues. So where do we get it right? How do we start getting it right? It starts by you and I making adequate and proper sure that we live our life in the best shape, way, and form by living right, doing the things that are right, even when nobody's watching, living responsibly, and not living on this note and quest for being a slave to money, wealth. By all means, at all costs, you want to make it. There's no crime being ambitious, trying to be successful and achieving your goal, but doing it the right path, doing it the right way is the main goal and the main objective, and should definitely be that. So that if you're doing that in the right way or form, people will not feel uncomfortable around you, and you are cautious of it, to the point that if you know that it will affect somebody's life, it will make the other person unhappy, uncomfortable, or even end the other person's life, you don't do it. Just as we see that some Nigerians or some people unalive their fellow human being in quest of this money, go into armed robbery, go into pushing of, powder and all whatnot. At all costs, you want to make it, you want to succeed, to the detriment of others, to the detriment of other country citizens that you find yourself in their country, is a no for me and should be stopped, should be put an end to. And please, to any country and their citizens, you find it uncomfortable that citizens from other countries like Nigeria are there doing things that are illegal, it's best you even resort to your government, to your leaders, to take the right action based on their immigration law and what have you. If it's something that at the end of the day the person needs to be caught and brought to book, punished, fine. Other than unaliving brutally, your fellow human, is a no for me, and is a very bad stigma on us as Africans, especially as South Africans, as Nigerians particularly, right? Because we've had this incident over and over the years that even growing up, I never ever felt comfortable with it, and I will not feel comfortable with it. That I don't even, I'm allergic, I have phobia for scenes like tragic scenes. I don't watch, I don't see those things. So when I used to hear of these things, and most time people want me to watch these things, this scene, I really feel I don't watch it, because I know that it will leave me traumatized, and something that will always not sit well with me will never sit well with me. There are better ways we can handle our issues. We can dialogue and resolve our issues, and it starts by embracing peace, love over hatred. It starts by seeing ourselves as one. The earlier we start understanding this, the better for us. And it starts and lies in us behaving ourselves as citizens of different countries, no matter where we find ourselves. Because at the end of the day, the white people would definitely not encourage us to be one, but rather, if at the end of the day we fight to be one and succeed as one, what we would definitely do in this world, how we will affect this world, would definitely leave a history, a remarkable one, in the story and in the life of generations and generations to come. Remember, we have children, or we will have children, and at the end of the day, we don't know where we're going to meet ourselves, we don't know where we're going to meet each other. But please, let's learn to live right. Dear Nigerians, you committing a crime and telling someone how to treat you might not really be the best option. But what about you avoiding committing those crimes, avoiding living those lives? It's better off, right? And at the end of the day, you who is being offended, acting in a way, manner, or form that ordinarily, if you do same, people will do the same thing to you and you will not like it. Why not apply better approach at the end of the day that is suitable before God and man, which is what? Not taking laws into your hands, but allowing the law to serve its cause. And that's why we have the law to guide, to direct, and to lead us, right? In summary, the cross of the whole matter is knowing fully well that we are all humans on earth, created by God, and the life we are given was given to us by God. We do not have the right to misuse it, to abuse it. We do not have the right to take it or sniff it out of anyone for any reason whatsoever, because every life will be accounted for. The life you live as an example, whether on the negative or on the positive, out there in the world, no matter where you find yourself, as a citizen of Nigeria, as a citizen of South Africa, or any country, will be accounted for at the end of the day when this breath of life is taken away from you. Let's all remember that. And the more we embrace ourselves as one Nigerians in this country, learn to even accept ourselves first, create that environment of peace and unity, because we cannot expect other people to accept us if we don't accept ourselves as one, love ourselves as one, see ourselves as one. It is not about embracing an open arms wide to others. Meanwhile, within ourselves, we are united. We are in hate, we are in enmity, we are in bitterness, exception to those that, regardless of their ethnicity, their tribe, their religion, as citizens of Nigeria, still sees themselves as one Nigeria. Exception to those, because I know that there are still true die-hard fans of the country Nigeria that no matter what happens, wherever they see a Nigerian, they embrace themselves as one. And please, if you have a Nigerian that loves you as your fellow Nigerian, do not betray their love and trust. Do not go as far as hurting them, because this character is what transfers into other nations. It's what you take outside the country, and when you exhibit it, other nations will not like it. So dear Nigerians, dear South Africans, this is not about the issue of Chidinma alone, but it's an eye-opener and a lesson for us to come together, to put our differences aside, see ourselves as one black race in the continent of Africa, from West Africa down to Africa, and Africa to the world. And like I said, on this platform, my mission, my aim, my objective is to see that Africans unite. We see ourselves as one. Learn to put our differences aside, change from our evil ways, change from our bad ways, starting from our citizens down to our leaders. Because when you look at the African mentality based on the citizens and the leader, there are similarities and there are disparities. And these are the things we need to tackle first as our problems. Because when we get it right within ourselves, we can definitely get it right amongst ourselves as other nations and other countries. And that is it, guys. So if you made it to this point, thank you so pretty much for listening and watching patiently to this point. I will say may God bless you. And if you actually do realize and understand where I'm coming from, leave your thoughts constructively and respectfully, and let's share our thoughts, our opinions, our objectives down there in the comment section. And if you like what you see here, like I said, this is a space where I will be dropping topics, important issues that are binding on us, pressing on us as Africans, as West Africans, that most people are afraid to come out and tell it as it is, saying it as a bitter and a brutal truth, so that it hits you and changes you in and out, in total, for a better life, for a better individual, for a better citizen, a better country, a better nation, and a better continent at large. So time to time, I will be coming up here to talk on issues like this, different types of issues that bothers us as African nations, Nigeria, name it, any country. And at the end of the day, we have a common understanding, knowledge, and goal of one Africa, one united Africa, and Africa to the world. So if you like it on here and this is what you want, I will oblige you. Subscribe to this channel. Don't make it your last. Share this video so that more people can get to understand and see what it is all about African unity and why we should unite, why we should learn to change our ways, particularly as Nigerians, South Africans, for the bone of contention today and the major topic we are centered on. Like I said, like this video, share, subscribe if you're not. Don't make it your last. I promise there are interesting topics that are definitely going to hit your timeline. As a Nigerian, wherever you are watching, let's unite as one and let's spread more love than hate. Live peacefully as one by God's grace and God's willing. And at the end of the day, we will see how blessed and how far we will definitely go in life and the things we achieve in life by the special grace of God. So this is my own personal opinion, my objective based on all this trending issues between South Africa, Chidinma, Nigerians, and all whatnot. Thank you so much once again. Thank you so much once again for watching. And with this, I will say we've come to the end of this video. Till I see you in my next one. One Africa we stand, united we stand, and divided before. Coming from the life of an African woman, your host today on Africa to the World. Bye, guys.